Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, September 8th. So we will see the moon lock into this Cancer energy. If you listen to yesterday's forecast, you would know that we had the moon in Gemini go void, of course, at 6:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we had a couple of aspects with the moon being void that carried us into the early hours of Friday morning. And we do have one aspect taking place before the moon actually locks into its place of power in this Cancer energy. So we can definitely expect for this to be a little bit of an emotional day, a little bit of a sensitive day. It always is when the moon is in her place of power in this Cancer energy. We're a little bit more introverted than normal. We have a want, need, and desire to kind of stick close to home, to stick to what is old, tried, tested, and true. We're basically sorting through our thoughts and our emotions in order for us to build a better, more stronger foundation, in order for us to kind of support these new ideas, these new energies, these new changes and transformations that we've been percolating on, that we still aren't quite sure of, but nonetheless, the Cancer energy is here to really connect us with our intuition, with our heart space. Yes, there is a little bit of nostalgia that comes up with the moon in Cancer. Yes, there is an overwhelming attachment to the past, to the old. But as we kind of cycle through some of the aspects that we're going to experience with the moon in Cancer over the next couple of days, we will understand where it is that we do have to kind of release our attachments to the old if there is a chance in hell of us building towards something new. So there's going to be a lot of revelations, a lot of epiphanies over the next couple of days. So there are 11 different aspects here today, and 9 of them are going to involve the moon. As I previously mentioned, we have one aspect with the moon, void of course, still in this Gemini energy before we lock into the Cancer energy. And that moon aspect is interacting with Mercury. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, who is retrograde in this Virgo energy. This is a good interaction. It means that we are getting a little bit of a blip, an aha moment, a download, an epiphany, if you will. And because this is happening kind of midnight for most of us, this could actually be dream content more than it is in your waking state. Now, this is an aha moment. This is an epiphany where it is that we are starting to get on the same page between our heart and our head. And if you listen to yesterday's forecast, you would know that we kind of ended the day off with this very dramatic contrast between what it is that we were thinking and what it is that we were feeling. We kind of had to navigate and wade through the muddy waters, so to speak, in order to kind of understand where the distance is creating this gap between our heart and our head, and the energy and efforts that we now have to put forth in order to get them on the same page. So this is a positive interaction giving us a little bit of clarity, but again, could be coming through the dream state, which of course is going to need a little bit more time to kind of pop into our waking state, into our mental plane, where we're able to kind of make a little bit more sense of it. So the moon transitions and locks into Cancer energy at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 2:06, we have our very first aspect with the moon in Cancer, which is a semi-square, not the most favorable aspect, with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, who is currently retrograde in this Taurus energy, giving us a lot to think about. We have a lot to review. We have a lot to reflect upon, a lot to reevaluate, especially where our physical realms are concerned, the changes that we want to make, the opportunities for growth and expansion, especially where creating new opportunities to make more money, to have more safety, security, stability really infiltrate our lives, not only where our finances are concerned, but where our relationship dynamics are concerned as well. Now, the moon interacting with Jupiter in this way is definitely going to pump the brakes, if you will, on any kind of change, any kind of transformation that we may even been percolating on. Reason being, the moon in Cancer doesn't really want to think about futuristic plans, doesn't even really want to think about the here and now. We just kind of want to provide ourselves with as much safety, security, and stability as we possibly can, especially in our emotional realms at this time. And that means that we fall back on old patterns, old behaviors, whatever is tried, tested, and true, whatever is familiar is what we kind of gravitate to. So this is a little bit of a tension and a conflict because, of course, Jupiter has us, really looking inward to see what needs to change. And the moon in Cancer is like, you know what? Maybe another day. Right now, we're just going to hold on to all of the silver linings as tightly as we possibly can because I'm really not in the emotional realm to really tackle the amount of change and transformation that Jupiter is asking me to contemplate. The moon in Cancer are going to make a positive interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in the Aries energy, helping us to really tackle the areas of concern within ourselves that are preventing us from kind of detaching from the old self, breaking out of the old patterns, the old behaviors in order to build ourselves up in a much better, stronger way with happier, healthier habits to actually kind of stabilize in our day-to-day routine so that we can be addressing our own health and wellness while we're still showing up and doing the tasks and the chores and the roles and responsibilities, the commitments, the obligations that we've made to other people. So the moon in Cancer kind of interacting with Chiron in this way, it's a positive interaction, which means that we are doing what we need to do in order to feel supported, encouraged, to feel grounded, to feel safe, to feel secure. Now, that may mean just kind of, grounding ourselves out in this present moment. It may mean reflecting on how much growth and healing we've been able to do. It may mean that we're holding on to the old as tightly as we may be because we feel the change of the new taking place within us. Now, that is not a bad thing at all. It just means that sometimes when we're initiating something new, when we're making great changes to our lives, that we really do need to kind of continue some of the quote unquote old habits and behaviors before the new ones are actually anchored in. The moon is then going to trine, beautiful interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Pisces energy. We get this trine because Cancer energy, Pisces energy, they're both water signs. So this is like a gentle nudge, a harmonization, if you will, a little bit of a growth spurt in our emotional field. Water energy is cleansing. It is transformative. It is the only element that is able to take on all three states of solid, gas, and liquid. And therefore, when you take a look at the transformation needed to that particular element in order to take on all forms, that's very much what we're going through right now in our emotional realm. We have to be aspected by some of these uncomfortable interactions with planets in order to illuminate for us where change and transformation, where growth and healing actually is taking place. So Saturn tends to bring us down a couple of pegs because, of course, he does like to give us tough love life lessons. And because he is retrograde in this Pisces energy, helping us to deconstruct our old belief system, really addressing where it is that our dreams, our visions, the hopes, the wishes that we have for the future are being blocked by old patterns, old behaviors, old belief systems, and basically where we're not in a vibratory match for some of the things that we're looking to bring to life and looking to create. And of course, how we get to be a vibratory match is to unpack the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the lies, the delusions that we are under, either by how it is that we grew up, our conditioning, our programming, or what it is that we're continuously telling ourselves, again, from the egoic programming standpoint. But this is a good interaction, which means emotionally speaking, we are kind of, yes, again, with the moon in Cancer, holding on to the past and really sticking to what is old, tried, tested, and true and comfortable and familiar. But Saturn is here to kind of remind us that we've outgrown certain roles and responsibilities. We've outgrown certain relationships, certain chapters, certain life lessons. And because of that, we have to be bold and brave and courageous enough in order to prepare ourselves for this new chapter. And again, may I remind you, we are moving into a new karmic chapter here in just a couple of weeks when we move into the equinox energy as we prepare to leave Virgo season behind and enter into Libra season. That equinox energy resets the karmic scales. And so right now we're kind of deconstructing what it is that is lingering in our lives, that's holding us back, that's preventing us from moving forward. And emotionally speaking, we are starting to realize what is required of us to kind of close the door on the old and open up the door to the new. The sun in Virgo energy going to trine with Jupiter, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. Now, this is definitely going to boost our spirits. This is going to bring back a lot of optimism, a lot of confidence. We are focused on the silver linings. We are understanding why we had to go through the tough love life lessons that we've gone through in order to learn the lessons and the spiritual knowledge and wisdom that we're currently having and that we're currently being asked to integrate into the here and now. Because once you know better, you have to do better. Many of us know better, still not doing better. So this is going to, again, lift our spirits. This is almost like a renewal in our energy, a renewal in our faith and our belief system. It's going to put a pep in our step. And considering the fact that we were very depleted on energy and F's to give here yesterday with the moon squaring off with Neptune, this is definitely when we start feeling a little bit more like ourselves. We have a little bit more physical energy, I would say, but mostly this is an inner realm thing where we're really starting to kind of build ourselves up where it is that we've been feeling broken down. The moon then goes ahead, makes a positive interaction with the sun in Virgo. Considering the fact that the sun in Virgo is shining a bright light on what it is that we have to rearrange and restructure, especially in our day-to-day life, in order to really not only take care of ourselves, but to break away from bad narratives, bad behaviors, bad habits, bad patterns, really implementing a new structure in our lives so that we're addressing our own health and wellness concerns while we're still busting ass by trying to live up to everybody else's expectations and fulfill the roles, responsibilities, and obligations and commitments that we've really attached ourselves to. The sun is showing us what it is that we have to fix, what it is that we have to heal, what it is that we have to build towards. So coming out of the aspect with Jupiter, our spirits are high. We're a little bit more positive. We're seeing the bigger, broader picture here. And now the moon interacting with the sun is kind of showing us where it is that we are recognizing, because of the moon in Cancer being very attached to the past, where it is that we are desperately holding on to things that we've outgrown, that we've definitely kind of learned our lesson about, that we are holding on to, even though we've been praying for some of these aspects and elements to change. So this is a positive interaction that illuminates for us what it is that we have to detach from and what it is that we have to build in the place of the things that we're letting go of. So the sun, again, in Virgo energy, has us very focused on this physical realm, where it is that we can kind of, recreate a better system, a better foundation, a better routine for us to be flowing through our day and addressing the concerns that we have to really address on a daily. While the moon in Cancer, having us very emotionally attached to the past, is at least in an awareness and in an acknowledgement type of state where we are seeing what it is that we're holding on to for dear life, when realistically speaking, it's time to free up our hands to start building something better in its place. The moon then goes ahead, bumps into the North Node. And this is a beautiful interaction because it means that we are piecing things together. We are planning. We are strategizing. We are seeing where it is that we have an opportunity to take a step forward. We're seeing where it is that we have an opportunity to cut off things from the past. This is progress. Now, albeit very small progress, because a lot of it is just taking place in our inner realm. It's not taking place in our exterior realm. We're just kind of percolating on what it is that we think we need to do, what we think needs to happen in order for us to create distance away from the things that we've outgrown, that we now emotionally and intellectually know are holding us back from creating something new. Now, the moon is going to get in the boxing ring and square off with Mars. Mars is the god of war. He rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. And I think most of us, since Mars has moved into this Libran energy, has experienced a lot of extreme emotions, especially where anger, frustration, and even rage is concerned. Now, Mars in this Libran energy, just trying to stay balanced, trying to keep our head above water, trying not to rock the boat so that we take on more water and sink ourselves. Mars wants to take action. He wants to move forward, but he's not gifted with that opportunity in Libran energy. He has to advance closer to his dreams, to his desires, to his passions, to his goal through the intellect, through conversation, through compromise, through negotiation. This isn't his most favorable spot to be in. And definitely getting into the boxing ring and squaring it off with this sensitive energy that the moon in Cancer is all about, we're definitely going to realize where it is that we're not so happy, or we're not so comfortable, where we're not as, I'm going to say, stable and balanced as we would like to think that we are, this is going to trigger some things. This is going to activate some things, especially where it is that we have ants in our pants. We want to take action and move forward, but of course we can't do that, especially considering as we don't have a plan and strategy on how to do that. Again, one of the major factors of why people don't change is because they don't build the new habits, the new routines before they break away from the old. The worst thing that you can do is be looking at this bridge that you've built in the past to get you from where it is that you once were to where it is that you're currently at. And you're saying, okay, I don't want this bridge to be here anymore. I don't want to go back there. And I certainly don't want to stay here. So the worst thing that you can do is destroy the bridge before you build a new one, or else you're going to be stuck on an island forever. Okay. So where the problem lies is that many of us are looking to break away from the old. Many of us are anxious and anticipating starting the new, but most of us have not built the proper routines, structures, foundations for these new habits, these new ways of life, these new narratives. You haven't built the new ones yet. You're just looking to cut off the old. That is going to leave you in no man's land. That's going to leave you in a very difficult position. So what we're getting into the boxing ring about right now is where it is that we're frustrated, where essentially we're not moving forward, but where it is that we have to really get a grip on our mental plane and on our emotions and figure out what it is that we need to build in the place of the things that we're looking to disconnect and detach from. Now, again, squares don't feel good, a lot of conflict, a lot of tension. And this is going to illuminate where it is that we are having a little bit of anger issues, frustration for our inability to make as many moves as we would like and as much progress as we were hoping to have at this particular point in the calendar. The moon is then going to semi-square, a little bit of a tension point on top of this square that we just had with Mars, with Uranus, the Great Awakener. Now, this isn't going to feel good. This is actually going to, normally Uranus is, gives us an aha moment. He changes our perspective. He disrupts our day in order to show us where it is that maybe we could improve and do things better. In this particular instance, this is creating more confusion, especially out of the square that we just had with Mars. Now, a lot of the confusion is needed because we are about to bust into a lot of clarity, but the confusion is needed because emotionally speaking, the minute that we get to the precipice of actually making a change in our lives is the minute that the egoic programming starts screaming at us to just stay safe, stay where you're at, stay where you are standing, settle into it. Let's start kind of lying and deluding ourselves, trying to talk ourselves into this place that we don't want to stay at, but that maybe we should make peace with, because making the changes and transformations in our lives that we know that we need to make to create something new is kind of scary. It's kind of filled with a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility that we just don't want right now, right? So we're in this time because of all of these planets being retrograde. There's a lot more focus on the past than there is on the future. There's a lot more focus on what we are moving away from as far as past elements go, instead of building new ones in the future. But this is the emotional, chaotic place that we need to be at in order to understand where it is that our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, that egoic programming is trying to paralyze us to stay in the same spot, to not change, to not transform, to not evolve, which I guess is the bottom line, is that the egoic programming does not want us evolving. So Mars, who we just were in the boxing ring with, and Uranus, who we just had this little confrontation with, now they're going to interact in such a way that is not going to create a very good vibe. First of all, this is going to exacerbate any anxiety, any anticipation, any restlessness that you may be experiencing. This is going to turn the volume all the way up. Here's the thing. Mars wants to take action. He wants to make moves. He wants to initiate change. He wants to just go out in the world and take action and deal with the consequences later. We're not about that, okay? We're not in the type of energy right now that supports that at all. There's so much confusion. There's so much uncertainty. We're so unsure of what that next step, that next action, what the plan of strategy should actually be, that we're just kind of spinning in circles. And this is going to exacerbate the energy that we're currently sitting in, which doesn't feel so nice. Now, granted, you're going to have to give your physical body an outlet to channel that not so nice energy. So, clean up your space or go for a jog or do something that allows this very electric type of anxiety-filled energy in your physical body to let it out in a way that doesn't destroy you. Because if you sit in it, a couple of things can happen. A, you're either going to negatively take it out on yourself, meaning, trash talk yourself into just believing that you're not worth change or love or worthiness or anything like that. Secondly, it can put you in a situation where you're starting to project your anger and frustration onto other people, creating misunderstanding, confrontation, and conflict that don't need to be there. And thirdly, you're just going to create a mess for yourself in some kind of aspect, whether it be in your emotional field, mental field, or in your physical realm. So let's give the physical body an outlet. Let's give it a task. Let's give it a job. And as you're kind of doing these mundane tasks and chores, not only are you going to channel that not so nice energy out of your body, but you're going to give your higher level intellect that Uranus rules over an opportunity to kind of plant a seed into your mental plane that could actually make a dramatic difference on the changes and transformations that you're currently confused about. You could get a download, a vision, a glimpse, an aha moment on what this next path, this plan, this direction could be. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Cancer, sextiling, beautiful interaction with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, who is retrograde in its place of power in Virgo energy. This is our heart and our head getting along. This is our heart and our head on the same page. Whatever it is that we're feeling, our head is like, yes, this is great. You're on to something. Whatever it is that our head is focused on, our heart is like, you know what? That's a great idea. We should explore that. We should pursue that. This is a very small window of opportunity of feeling like we're on the right path. We're in the right direction of trying to explore the path, the plan, the strategy on what it is that we want to do, what it is that we need to initiate from here.